History Museum and Historic Sites welcomes listeners to a special all UFO edition of the Super Old News Network, your summary of news from the early days of Aurora, Colorado. These stories have been borrowed from newspapers and documents which reported the happenings in our city and around the nation. Welcome, loyal listener, to the Super Old News Network for our special UFO edition. I'm intrepid newsman of the past, Skip Decade, coming to you from 1950s and 60s Aurora, Colorado. Now, here's Super Old News. Aurora Advocate, September 1950. One Auroran thought for sure a flying saucer had landed in the vicinity of 16th and Dayton the other night when he put in a call for police to investigate oddly shaped objects which appeared to be cardboard boxes traveling up and down Dayton Street. But it couldn't be boxes because they were rolling in all directions at the same time. And the wind was blowing, and how could that be? Investigation showed that these men from Mars were small juveniles, inside of boxes, rolling head over heels to manipulate the oddly shaped objects. Aurora Advocate, June 1952. Space-minded residents of Aurora, with no limits as to age, found their adventurous spirit whetted by the appearance of a life-sized rocket ship, the Ralston rocket Terra 4, which visited the market at the Mayfair Shopping Center on June 18th. The 35-foot, $350,000 rocket has been built as a replica of the battle cruiser used by Commander Buzz Corey of Space Patrol, a highly popular space adventure series of radio and television. During the appearance, children and parents toured the interior of the metal monster by presenting one box top from any Ralston cereal. The interior is filled with literally hundreds of gadgets, levers, lights, control switches, and buttons, each of which may be worked by visitors to simulate spaceflight. One of the most fascinating views is that of Terra, the 30th century city of the future, stretching out in all directions. Our launching platforms, air washing plants, space control units, and superhighways, each of which is filled with tiny streaking jet cars. Every youngster and parent is given the opportunity to sit in one of two huge cockpit seats located below the plastic nose bubble. No time limit has been set as the length of the tour. Lieutenant Ted Sanders, in charge of the rocket, comments that some youngsters want to go to the moon, others to Jupiter. Of course, Jupiter takes longer since it is much, much farther. Currently on tour in the Salt Lake area, the Ralston rocket will be in the Denver area for 4 days. Aurora Democrat, July 1950. My usual police beat was interrupted late Saturday evening when the telephone at the Aurora police station nearly jangled off the wall, as a Kingston Street resident blared out that a weird fiery object was darting in and out of Aurora skies over the hospital. Dropping everything, MB Robbie Robertson and myself hurriedly rushed to the address, where the anxious man, his wife, and 2 young gentlemen told us the following story. They claimed that at about 11:40 p.m. a fiery light appeared and gently rolled over on its side, then swept up again and disappeared among heavy clouds. After witnessing the phenomenon, Aurora police and 2 other unidentified persons were alerted. During the period it took us to arrive at the scene, another similar episode occurred. Checking with Fitzsimmons officials and Buckley Field weather observers, both sources claimed nobody at either station had seen that kind of a show. Ever. 3 jeeps were lately dispatched for observation at Fitzsimmons, and the weatherman at Buckley said he would keep his eyes peeled. For about an hour, we remained in the area where the object was first seen without ever getting a glimpse of it. It is very infrequent that newspapermen actually see these strange flying objects. It's very possible these people did see such an object, however, as it's been rumored that the mysterious saucers which have been reported by countless people throughout the country are in fact real and belong to the U.S. government. From an unknown object sighting report, dated August 1962 from Lowry Air Force Base. This reported to Colonel Arnold by Captain, name redacted, USMC via telephone. At 1845, on 26 August 1962, just after sunset in Delmar Park, an object was sighted in the sky before Venus had risen and too early for stars to appear. The object was much larger than a commercial jet, about twice the size of a DC-8. The object approached from the west over the mountains in an easterly direction. The object was golden in color, much brighter than the reflection of the sun, and 3 to 4 times brighter than Venus. The core of this object was golden, yet darker than the rest of the object, more like a golden gray. The object was not the shape of a cigar or submarine, nor oval like an egg, but a shape in between the two. The object traveled at terrific speeds, from over the mountains to the park from west to east. As it approached the park, it appeared to be a finger's width from the horizon, as viewed with finger held to the eye. The object had then made a high-speed turn, which was a perfect right angle and headed south for a short distance, the distance viewed between 2 telephone poles. The object then made another right-angle turn very abruptly and went straight up. The object appeared to start into a backward roll, as some planes do when bombing. At this time, the object was lost from sight. The viewing occurred during the spread of only a few seconds. The brightness of the object did not increase or diminish during the course of its maneuvers. The captain stated that he had not been drinking, nor had he read any recent books on flying saucers. This report is ruled insufficient data for evaluation because the quality of information is insufficient for firm analysis, possibly light reflected from a bird. Thank you for joining us at the Super Old News Network for our special UFO edition. This is Skip Decade, signing off. Super Old News is a regular program from the Aurora History Museum. Look for us on Facebook Live Tuesdays at 11. To research your own super old news, check out coloradohistoricnewspapers.org. Or to learn more about Aurora history, visit us at auroramuseum.org. And check back next week. Super Old News is breaking all the time.